Welcome back to the show, everybody. Yes, yes, yes! The most dangerous hands in the multiverse are loose because the day has come. Some of that BB tag for that CULO, that culo, baby! Miss Heart Aino is in the building, so you know hashtag Lolly awareness is in the building because we are about to get all of my questions answered about how this character is going to work in this game. Because let me put this into context for you just in case you don't. Alright. Given that Heart Aino comes from a game called Arcana Heart, one of the best fighters in the business, I still believe that to be so. And also with her appearance in Nitro plus Blast's Heroin Infinite Duel, is I have to question and wonder how you gonna work in BB Tag, because from her home game in Arcana Heart, mainly because this is the one thing that I'm really concerned about, is understanding how homing dashes and homing cancels are going to work. Because in Arcana Heart, you press a button to homing cancel the majority of anything you could ever do in that game, and the homing button itself opens up Office in a way that not a lot of other games can really say. Well, there is one because of that game's sister series being Damon Brown, which you should play, by the way, which has a lot of different options depending on whether you play vanilla or additional game and things like that. In Nitro plus Blasters, there was a dedicated button for defense. It was a button you pressed and it did majority of things. Mainly, it gave you forward and backwards rolls. You had like KOF style hops. You had super jumps that you can do in the air and all crazy things. Well, the one thing that they did do for Heart in Nitro plus Blasters is when you press the evade button in Nitro plus Blasters in the air, it's a homing dash. So she can do things from in the air and then press that button, but that's the only way that she can actually do anything using homing dashes in any way. So is that because everybody mostly had the same type of defensive maneuvers and stuff, it made sense that you didn't want to give a character like that much mobility in a game where everybody has defensive options and mostly are the same thing. And given the Nitro plus Blasters is what it is, there are other characters who, depending on, like, and they're very few and far between, but depending on how you press that evade button, what it is that they can do. But most of the characters are pretty much the same in what they can do. So here's the question. If that's the case in previous edge cases, then what about a game that has 5 buttons and doesn't really have a button really dedicated to really for real special actions other than tagging out? Because the only thing I could think of you could possibly do is that you could use her special button for that, but how much mileage could you really get out of that? Because the other thing you have to think about is that given her Nitro plus Blasters information, that she had parts in this as like you could do moves like if she had partners equipped as an Arcana, and it's her Arcana, so it wouldn't be like she'd be popping around using Metal or Mildred Avalon and be dropping out of nowhere giving you monster results. So I'm not really sure. At this juncture, I just want to get to the trailer. I want to let this trailer speak because the street's been known, but I've been waiting for this because I want to know. As a fan of Arcana Heart, as a fan of a lot of what Examu does, I want to know how this character is going to play in this game, because I'm not going to sit up here because I'm just putting the hope out. I need Mei Fang. I need that in my life. Mei Fang, that's my boo, that's my girl, that's waifu. That's my Arcana Heart personal waifu. You want to come catch this Mei Fang work, holla at your boy. I will give you that robot big giant titty work. I will give that to you. All you gotta do is ask. Yeah, real hype. So, with all of that being said, super duper motherfucking Magic Box. Girl, I need you to come through because I need your help to show the streets was really good with my girl. You in the building? Of course super duper motherfucking Magic Box is in the building. Why wouldn't she be? Look, we're going to do this like we've been doing it. We're going to go through this slow. I'm going to sit up here and give you any more information that you may need that this trailer may not expand upon. But I hope knowing at least what we're getting into, because we're talking about a character from Arcana Heart who had all these mobility options from a game like Nitro plus Blaster where everybody has a whole bunch of mobility options, for a game like BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, which has defensive options but is much more tier 2 because it's a tag team fighting game about those tag team mechanics. So it should be interesting to really see, like, mainly, like, how she works with homing cancels, how parts of this plays a part in all of this, and what she can really do. So, with all of that being said, now activating BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, the Heart Aino Research Paper, .exe. Rated T for 10. Okay. This, if you haven't already known, been paying attention for the last 6 minutes, this is Heart Aino from... This is Heart Aino from Arcana Heart 3 LOVEMAX 666 stars, baby! Say you by Mikako Takahashi. Shockingly innocent and overflowing with energy. This is very true. Heart believes there is no such thing as a truly bad person. And in the name of love and justice, she meddles in other people's business yet again. It's her thing. It what makes Heart a great character. That because she's so pure inside. She's so pure. Seriously. Yeah. I always loved her character. I always appreciated what Heart brings to the table as Arcana Heart's main character. But then as she starts less becoming the main character and more of a secondary character, because each Arcana Heart has somebody who stands in front, but Heart is right there in the middle always, even though she's technically the main character always, even when she isn't the main character, which is not as weird as you think it is, because there are stories where the main character don't have to be involved because they're there. Heart Aino is that character for Arcana Heart. It's going to be interesting to see who else will be joining her as part of Fate number 5, coming from this wonderful video game, which you can go buy on Steam right now, which is currently still in work and hopefully will be out before the end of the year with some Shark Girl stuff. You may continue. Oh, let me pause it real quick, so I can say this while this is on my mind. Let me see. How do I say this? I need Poolside Paradise as an option. I'm like, Kira may not make it into this video game. She has a spiritual successor in a game called Million Author Arcana Blood, and we'll talk about that when it's time. But Poolside Dynamite is one of the best tracks in fighting games. Please come argue me. Please come in the comments and tell me that you may be able to name some tracks better than Poolside Dynamite, but you will be addicted to it once you get it. Okay, I'm done. Back to this. Okay. Heart is a well-rounded, versatile character who excels at using her fist of love. Yes, and she can do this in various uppercuts. She has floor bounces. This is a character that has floor bounces in a game with mobility options. So imagine when you think you knocked down, and because that move we're talking about is a soft knockdown, she can follow it up with a home and dash and, continually whoop your ass. That's what makes Arcana Heart so great. You may continue. She can close the gap between her opponent with homing and can attack with long range with the blessings of the Arcana of Love parts of it. We talked about her earlier. Let me take this back for a second, because I just want to see something, because I saw her do homing, but I want to see what button was pressed. Okay, hold up, because she finna do the... Okay, she didn't do anything. Run that back on. Because she did homing, but I just want to see what button was pressed. Oh, she didn't do anything yet. Okay, so this is how you do homing. By pressing C in the air, you can perform homing, which allows you to quickly close in on your opponent. This is different from Arcana Heart, where even in a standing position, you press the D button and you go forward. In most cases, for the majority of characters in that cast, usually pressing homing puts you in an air position. It's kind of like how technically when you do a backstep in KOF, you're in the air. It's the same thing. Where if you home an attack, more likely than not, usually that character is off of the ground at some point. So they're treating homing in this game the same way that Nitro Plus Blasters did. Is that instead of when when Heart does anything with an evade action instead of doing like a jump or anything like that in the air like most other characters do in that game, she does homing toward the opponent instead. So it's good to know that C button is getting some use. You may continue. This is very important. In Arcana Heart, one of the most important things, and this extends to Damon Bride too, is understanding your mobility options. Giving that a button that allows you to do so much. Think about that. That you can do a lot of moving. That you can do a lot of in and out. And there are some characters in both casts that really rely on being annoying with normals dealing with movement options. Homing is very big for some characters, and in some instances also in combinations of characters who normally don't, but with arcanas that do enhance what happens when you do their when you do arcana actions in homing situations. So that's a lot to take in, but think about it. We'll read this now. Aside from adjusting the trajectory with the direction input, you can also use one skill gauge and cast a specific move into it, whether on hit or on block. So, this is very similar to Mr. Naoto Kurogane, you know, that Blood Edge guy, we talked about him weeks ago, where he had a move that enhanced a lot of, that you can dash cancel out of it. So instead of making every single thing like an Arcana Heart that you press a button and you can do homing, and then you can homing out of anything, that to keep it fair, because this is not only a tag situation, but that would give her something over the cast that a lot of the cast does not have. But keeping it fair, but making sure that you're giving the character their proper due from the series in which they came from. So I can appreciate that. Not all moves are homing cancelable, but given that you know that they're trying to keep it fair, I can appreciate that. You may continue. So, classic Arcana Heart stuff, just like that. That's an aircon. Now, you can cancel the Arcana of Love move with Arcana Homing. By spending one skill gauge, you can cancel the recovery from shooting the projectiles with homing. I just want to see what the example is going to be, and then I'll just elaborate. Okay. So, I'm going to rewind this real quick because I just want to double check something. Let me see. Okay, because what I thought was going on was that Arcana moves when she used the Arcana of Love actually cost meter. No. Because this is going back to Nitro plus Blasters, because Arcana Heart is a completely separate thing, and I could be all day explaining that Arcanas are very dangerous in the right hand with the combination of characters, or in the majority of instances, great players who use their noodles. So that's good. Here's the thing. In Nitro plus Blasters, Heart had access to all of Partners' basic fireballs and things like that, like the single fireball, the triple fireball, and the big giant laser. So, in this instance, it was saying that she has all of those. And in Nitro plus Blasters, if I remember correctly, is that everything was down, and an attack button, which activated all of her Arcana moves, which is very similar to how you activate them in Arcana Heart, at least in Arcana Heart 3, because in 1 and 2, Arcana activations and what you did were different, because there's a whole button to it. There's a whole button in all the games, but because of the things that added, like Arcana Blades and things like that, it really changed how a character and the player playing that character interacted with the Arcana and used those moves in addition to what the maiden themselves bring to the table. And yes, I was able to use the word maidens in a sentence. So, you may continue. So, I like that. Yeah, so I guess she got more than one laser. That's great. Homing for free. Appa! Yeah, boy! Thank you, Super Duper Motherfucking Magic Box. Appreciate it. So, what have you learned here today, children? Go play Arcana Heart. You probably should do that because that game is really, 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 really fucking good. Do not play Sugoi Arcana Heart 2 on PS2. You will have bad times. You just will. I am waiting for the day where Exama will release Sugoi Arcana Heart 2 and Arcana Heart 2 on like Steam or something. Now, I'm just saying, winkety wink, that if you really want to play both of those games, you can with a Google search. I'm just putting it out there. You know, I'm like, for the record, let it be said, is that if you're going to play a version of Arcana Heart 1 and you're not really into things, the PS2 US version is technically the best version because it has bug fixes that the Japanese version did not. But for some reason, when Atlas, released the game, they took out all the Japanese voices at the character select screen and the majority of voices in the thing. So I don't know whether that was a rights issue or something. But if you want voices, play the Japanese version. But if you want a truly bug-fixed version of Arcana Heart, which is a combination of Arcana Heart 1 and Arcana Heart Full, then play the US PS2 version. And Arcana Heart 3 LOVEMAX 6 stars is on Steam. Like, if you want to get into regular LOVEMAX or Arcana Heart, you can do that. You can do that on a PS3 or Vita. But you probably want to just go get 6 stars because it's the latest and greatest and updated version of what it is you can get into. And for the record, let me say this while I did mention Nitro Plus Blasters. If you're going to play a version of Nitro Plus Blasters Heroin Infinite Duel, the answer is by the Steam version. Now, this is not saying that because the game is $9 on PSN for the next week or so that you can get that complete. You can get all the DLC for like $11-12. That includes the DLC for Heart and Homura and also the bikinis for Heart, Homura, and Sonico. So you can get all that. But if you're trying to play competitively and you're trying to keep up with the game's meta, because the game has gone through its courses, that the Steam version is the latest version, which seems to be a lot for a lot of those games that come out later on Steam, mainly games like Battle Fantasia, man. Shout out to my main man, Jinx, have a really good family. I owe you a run some games. I told him a couple weeks ago we were supposed to play, but I've been so busy, man, on the grind and hustling and work and things like that. Ain't really had the time to sit down, but I owe you. Melty Blood, the same thing. The latest and greatest version is on Steam, and whether get that on Steam or if you go take 2 seconds, go look up the Community Edition with people who care about their game and want to give you the best experience offline and online of that, then you can get that too. Glad I could help. I'm glad that Heart is staying true to her Arcana Heart self, and everything that she had in Nitro Plus Blasters is brought into BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle to make this character unique and make this character feel like she's at home, surrounded by a cast of 4 other video games, and she's game number 5. So, given what this game is, who knows what's gonna be more fates? Who knows who's gonna come next? But I will agree on the internet with this one thing. It has been too long from A to B. I will agree on that they took too long. That while it was hot, they should have been balancing and keeping my Bae Yang and keeping her good and Psych Squad and all that old crazy stuff that I see in tournaments. But yo, shout out to the BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle community. Y'all hold this game down. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do y'all thing. When I be watching tournaments, I be in awe about how this game is being thought of at a high level. So shout out to all of y'all doing y'all thing. Uncle Triple appreciates it and appreciates you. But regardless of that, we got more show for you. Do it? Yeah. Wink bomb. Bang, 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 bang. Bang. We've got more show for you. So please. Just asking you nicely. Sit back. Relax and stay tuned. Just in case you forgot who I was through this whole thing, I am the one and the only Triple, the G.O.D, aka Yo Uncle Triple. I'm rolling, of course, with Squish Murder and the congregation like always, and of course, bringing you this hot content is Bessie and Janine on the Unos, Dos, Thraces, and Quattros. Please, one time, throw your dubs up because we stay winning, never losing ever. Okay? Just how we do around here. So please, come on back after these commercial messages because we've got more show for you that that this predated something I was getting ready to do before the trailer came out. So we still got to put in that work. But seriously though, this is the part where I fold my arms and I look really, really deep into this camera and I tell you that, yeah, we've got more show for you right after these Commercial messages. I wonder who the rest of these characters. I wonder who the rest of Arcana Heart gonna be representing, because there are some interesting things going on in Arcana Heart that do not include my waifu Mayfang. Like, go play Arcana Heart. You will find a character to love, because it's like if you looking for a type of archetype, one way or another, you are being taken care of. Oh, and to shout out whoever that was who commented a couple weeks ago, who said that Chaos Code characters might be coming to BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, that would be legitimately sick. And given it to Shinsai this weekend, I got a feeling that we gonna get some announcements from a couple of different fighting games that we all know and love. So when that information comes out, as it does come out, Uncle Triple got exactly what you need. Seriously though. Bang! More show for you right after these commercial messages.